Alrighty, hour number two of our radio program. That's right. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast nationally on the Infinity Sports Network. A double congratulations to Kevin Hovde. Not only are the Florida Gators going to the Final Four, they'll play Saturday night up against Auburn. He's also the new men's head basketball coach right here in the city at Columbia, and he's kind enough to join us right now. Coach, really appreciate you jumping on board with us. I'm sure it's a busy time for you. Thanks for doing
Uh,
this.
no, of course. Thank you so much for having me, Zach.
So, watching your Florida team this year, and we'll talk Columbia in just a bit, especially in the tournament, and we know how hot you guys were going into the NCAA tournament. There
Right.
was a great moment of resiliency up against UConn, and then we saw an extra moment of resiliency with the Final Four spot on the line against Texas Tech when you guys were down 9 points with a little over 3 minutes to go. Just how about the toughness that that team displayed when their backs are up against the wall? They found a way to get the job done.
Yeah, I think it really shows the character of our team. And obviously, we've won a lot of games together this year. So, even though being down nine, late in the game, I think our confidence really never wavered. Even in the under four media timeout, just looking around at the guys and the coaches, and I think we all felt like we were going to find a way, and obviously had to make some big shots. A couple guys stepped up, and next thing you know, the game's tied, and then we take the lead, and all of a sudden we're shooting free throws to try to ice the game. So just absolutely amazing finish to the game.
With how long you've been doing this, you've had thrilling moments along the way, but these stakes are the highest that they've been. And sometimes it takes a while to process a crazy victory, a moment of euphoria like that. Did you realize what you guys did in the moment, or did it take a little bit for it to sink in?
It was, I think it's still sinking in, honestly. It was really, really special and obviously high stakes. And it just happened so quickly because our game in the Elite Eight was Saturday night. And, only 8 days before was our first round game against Norfolk State. So just to be in the Final Four, obviously just an amazing thing. Most coaches dream of being able to go coach in a Final Four. And honestly, I'm just still pinching myself that we're going to get to go out there and play on Saturday, and hopefully win two more games this weekend.
Kevin Hovde here with us, assistant at Florida, is the new men's head basketball coach at Columbia. It also feels fake because when I watch Walter Clayton Jr., he just doesn't seem real. He seems like he's a video game type of player. Just what is it like? I know he came over for Iona, has been in the program the last few years. What has it been like to just coach him?
It's been unbelievable. Obviously, one of, if not the best player in the country. His obviously shot making and talent is on full display. But the thing that's amazing about Walt is his confidence. He's the most confident player I've ever coached, and that's evident with some of the shots he takes and makes. But it's real. It's real confidence being around him every day, and not many guys have that where they truly believe they're the best player on the court. And it's just such a luxury for us to have, obviously, because he can take over a game late, but also throughout the course of a game, he's such a great player that when things aren't going well, or maybe you don't have a great possession, and he can bail you out by going to get a basket or make a play.
You know this as a coach. There's always a moment when a play is happening where you're like, no, 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 no. And then it goes in and you're like, yes. That moment late where he stops right in front of the rim and then dribbles out and shoots a three and it goes in. Was that the definition of a moment like that?
Yeah, it was, but I've seen him do it before in games, and obviously every day in practice. So I do not take it for granted by any means, but we are used to seeing the amazing shot making. But for him to have the poise and confidence to do it on that stage is just unbelievable. And again, it's just a testament to who he is and how hard he works.
I know that you're so focused on the in-game details, but do you sometimes just get lost because when you watch him? Because I've said this about him. I think Cooper Flagg's the best player in the country, but he's the most entertaining player to watch in college basketball. Does your jaw even drop sometimes when you watch him?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, he's so fun to watch. Obviously, the shot making is amazing, but his fluidity, his change of pace, how easy he can make things look is really fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, obviously sitting there getting a front row seat to it is pretty special.
How do you think his game kind of translates to the next level? Because we know how reliant the NBA game is on the three-point shot. I know that this is big praise, but when I watch him, it kind of feels a little bit like Steph Curry at Davidson, just on a bigger stage at a bigger program like Florida.
I agree. I agree. I'll be really interested. Again, I've talked to him about that. Like, hey, why can't you try to be Stephen Curry? Like how he was in college, and I think Steph might average like 28 or something. He was ridiculous, but it is similar. Just the shot making, the ability to concentrate, how deep he can make shots from. So I just think there has to be a great role for him in the NBA, is how I feel. And I know he's going to work as hard as he can. He's a great kid. He's an awesome locker room guy. And all those things are great advantages as well as he tries to make that jump to the NBA.
Now that's the highest of standards, the greatest 3-point shooter ever. When you say to a kid like that, "Hey, why can't you be Steph Curry?" How does he kind of process that, and what was his response to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's heart of hearts. He's just such a believer, and again, that's what makes him special. And it is unique that we're able to have those conversations. But again, I think it speaks to his confidence, how much we believe in him, how much I believe in him, and then the belief that he has in himself. I have no doubt that he's obviously has the job to do to finish this thing at Florida the right way, and that's what he's zeroed in on. But I have no doubt that he's going to have a very successful career in the NBA.
Kevin Hovde here with us. College basketball changes so much. Now we're in this transfer portal era. I know not everyone has transferred in this season, but 4 of your 5 starters have transferred in to the program. How did you guys develop that synergy and that trust? Because I always say the transfer portal is like speed dating. You may think when you match, you know what you're getting into, but until you get to know the person, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of things. Number one, for us, we're really data driven in kind of everything that we do. So when we're evaluating a transfer, the first thing we're going to dive into is his advanced statistics. And that's something that we feel like gives you an advantage when you are recruiting a transfer because you are going to have some data from, Division One, whether it's the same level or maybe a lower level. So that's the first thing that we look at. Do the numbers align? Are they good enough numbers wise? And then the second piece is the eye test. And sometimes you can have a guy that has great statistics analytically, but maybe his game won't necessarily translate to the SEC because maybe he's a little slow or for whatever reason could be taking advantage of smaller guys at a lower level or however that may be. So when those two boxes are checked, and then the third and most important part becomes the personality piece, and that's where you have to get to know them quickly in recruiting. And we talk about it all the time. This formula has worked every stop we've been at. We brought it to Florida, is getting guys here that have great attitudes, great work ethics, and really want to be Florida Gators. And those three things are non-negotiables for us. So, when we're recruiting transfers, even though it's a quicker recruitment process, we're really trying to dig in and make sure that the guys that we bring into the program fit the way we are at Florida.
You mentioned playing in the SEC. It's fitting that we have 2 SEC schools remaining, Auburn and Florida. We had Bruce Pearl on the show yesterday. Kevin Hovde is here with us, assistant on the Florida basketball team, and obviously is off to Columbia whenever this run does end. Maybe 2 more games potentially with the one shining moment on Monday night. But whenever nationally we talk about the SEC, it's usually all right, they're the preeminent football conference. And then the Big Ten and them have kind of been even the last few years. Big Ten maybe jumping them a little bit with the 2 last national championships. But in basketball, 14 teams in the tournament. You have 2 teams in the Final Four. What has it been like to be a part of just this dominance in the SEC?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And obviously the best or one of the best conference slates ever. And I think you can look at it one of two ways. I think there are some people who are like, oh, this is so hard night in, night out. But I think you have to look at it as just an incredible opportunity every night and just be thankful that you get to compete in this incredible league where every night there's anybody can beat you. There wasn't one team on our schedule in conference play that couldn't come in and beat you. So the preparation and how much goes into it is so important. You have to be even more prepared. And again, it was awesome to go through it. And I think it obviously made us into the team that we are. And hopefully we can go this weekend and win 2 more games.
I'm a big fan of Elijah Martin. I remember him at FAU. I love Dusty May's teams, and he's done an incredible job now at Michigan in his first year, winning the Big Ten and getting to a Sweet 16. But his experience that he's brought to your program, being able to go on one of these long runs in March, just could you place a value on having that with you?
No, I mean he's been amazing and really all season. Really when he stepped foot on campus in the summer last June and right away he just raised the bar in a lot of areas of our program. And we felt like we had a good season last year. Kind of broke through and made the NCAA tournament, did some good things, but really adding Elijah and just his championship pedigree was so important for us because just all the details, the little things, and kind of the day in, day out work that it takes to be a championship level program. He had a great understanding of that, and he's also willing to hold everyone accountable, which is obviously very important as well.
If memory serves me right, the tourney last year, you guys had that thriller up against Colorado. For the guys that stayed, just what did that kind of do to get that little taste to propel you guys not only going on this run, but being consistently one of the best teams in the country this year?
Yeah, I think the big lesson for that was that we really had to improve on the defensive side of the ball. So that was a good thing going into the offseason. I think we gave up 100 over 100 points in regulation in that game. So it just left a bad taste in our mouth. And when we got the group back together and started summer workouts with the new team, I think it was easy for us as a coaching staff and as a program to kind of have a plan and emphasize how we were going to get better defensively. And that's really what we did. We worked on it every day. We put a ton of time into it and kind of established a grittier mentality on that side of the ball. And it showed up. I think we're top 10 in adjusted defensive efficiency this year, and that's the reason that we've really been able to make that jump because we were pretty confident that with our personnel and our firepower that we'd be able to score the ball well enough. But breaking through defensively was really the key for why this team is great.
I know Thomas Howe, had a really good season for you guys, but in this tournament, you have a game like what he had in the Elite Eight. He gets more recognition than he's ever received. To see him have that moment once again with your backs up against the wall, with him needing to deliver, just what did that kind of mean to you?
It's everything. I mean, he's obviously a great player, extremely versatile. The thing that makes him a great player is his competitiveness. He's one of the most competitive players I've ever coached, and his work ethic is amazing. He's in the gym all the time, working on his game, unafraid to fail, has real belief in himself because of the work that he puts in. So, to see him do it on that stage, it was amazing. And he's had great games for us this year. He's had 20-point games. He's obviously a huge part of our success, but for him to play that well and then finish the game with the back-to-back threes that kind of kept us in it was special for sure.
You know Coach Golden for a long time. You guys were assistants back in the day. I guess you could say now at Columbia, which it's wild that you're now going to be their head coach. But what was that like, those early years with Coach Golden as assistants?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah, we met each other back in 2012. He came to Columbia, so that was like 13 years ago, and worked together at Columbia and then San Francisco, and got to be a part of when he first became a head coach. I stayed with him, was on his staff, so I got to see him make that transition, and then obviously coming down here to Florida with him, and it's just been unbelievable. He's really the closest thing I have to a brother, and we've been. Uh, Working together. I think we have a great working relationship. He trusts me, which has been amazing for me for my own personal development, my career development. So, just so thankful for that relationship, and obviously we'll always remain very close no matter what.
And now, when you go on a run like this at a program like Florida with their background, he becomes a household name in the coaching community. Just for you, how do you describe the type of coach he is with how many different stops you've been there with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just supremely confident, and he's always been that way. We always say he's like the perfect amount of being the perfect amount of being irrational. But that's what you need. That's what you need in order to really break through and do this at such a high level. He's special that way, and he instills belief in the program, in his players. You can tell he's a quote unquote players coach as far as just the way he interacts with them on the court and the emotion that he shows. And I think that's the reason. That's a big reason that we were able to come back when we were down 9 with our backs against the wall late in that game. Is probably the confidence that he's instilled in them all year. I think there wasn't a moment where he thought we were gonna lose that game, and that translates to the guys. So I think he's very talented and has so many strengths, but that belief and confidence that he can instill in his players is really special and unique. I haven't seen many that can do that.
It's got to be a whirlwind for you because, right, you have a new job upcoming at Columbia, right? Big job for you in the Ivy League, and now you're in the Final Four. Just how do you kind of manage both of these things right now?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a whirlwind, but obviously great, all good things. And it's been great, honestly. And finishing this thing out with Florida, obviously with this team, like I'm so thankful that I get to do that and go try to win a national championship this weekend, and also getting started up at Columbia. I was actually able to sneak up there for a day last week, but we had an off day, and I was able to fly up to New York to meet the team in person and do some individual meetings, which was awesome. Got a great group of guys in there that really want to be good. And so, that makes me feel great about it. And just looking forward to, trying to finish this thing out the right way at Florida and then right away getting up to New York and getting going.
No, we got to get you to the good restaurants in New York City.
Sure.
I'm sure you miss some of that New York food, right?
Of course. No, no question. No question.
What,
I was there for 5 years, so I got a little taste of it, but excited about that part for sure.
what is a Kevin Hovde basketball program going to look like at Columbia?
Yeah, I think number one, really consistent. That's something I talk to the guys about, but I think that's the most important thing for me is having great consistency across all parts of the program. So, meaning what we work on and how we play, how we communicate with our guys, just every part of the program. I think that's a really important thing for, any program being good. I think as far as style of play, it'll hopefully be similar to Florida. We're going to play up-tempo, fast-paced. We'll have a good continuity where all five guys get to touch the ball and make decisions. It's not just dependent on one or two guys. And then defensively, again, similar. We're going to play as a team. We're going to help each other out. I think one thing that I'm really excited about is, the kind of guys that you can attract to Columbia are obviously intelligent guys that are high achievers, and we need to use that to our advantage in how we coach and how we play.
For you, going up against Auburn on Saturday, I know you guys played them earlier in February, and you guys got a victory up against them. They're a tremendous basketball team. There's a reason why they're the number one overall seed in the tournament. I can't wait for this one. Just what stands out to you about Coach Pearl's program?
Oh, I mean, he's everything. I mean, they're a great program. Obviously, we're really familiar because of Todd's relationship and his
Sure.
experience there. But yeah, I mean,
Coached him in the Maccabi games, Bruce Pearl, back
I
in
know.
'09. That's wild.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So, no, but obviously great team, super well coached with great players. It'll be a, tremendous challenge. And just like we did up there, like we played well up there, but we need to do a great job taking care of the ball. We can't give them any swing plays in a game like that, in a game this big. So, it gets down to defending, rebounding, taking care of the ball, and digging in on those three things, and trusting that your guys are going to go out there and make plays. So, I think we're obviously working on it as hard as we can right now, and we'll do everything we can to make sure the guys are prepared and ready to go.
Take me through what you think's going to be going through your mind when you walk out in San Antonio Saturday evening as that ball's about to get thrown up in the air.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it'll be surreal, just the sheer size and magnitude of the arena. Playing in a game with that many people there is incredible. But when it gets down to it, I think, and honestly, the experience in the SEC and how high level program Florida is, it does, even though I've never coached in a Final Four, I think it does help because there's been so many huge games that we've gone into. Playing. Tennessee at home is a huge game in Gainesville, so and all these games, the SEC championship. So we've been in really big games, and I think the key for that is you kind of have to be able to block that out and compartmentalize it and really focus on what's going on in the game. And we'll be zeroed in on making sure that we do that, and I'm confident that we'll be able to do that, especially as the game settles in.
Well, Coach, once again, double congratulations. Final Four, the job at Columbia. We'll have to come out there and catch a game next year, but really appreciate the time and good luck this weekend. Enjoy it.
Thanks so much, Zach. Really appreciate it.